Hi viewers, a very good evening. You're watching the news on Sansad TV with me, Rashika. We'll take a look at the top news stories of the country and around the world. But first, a look at the headlines. GST Council decriminalizes certain mall practices, decides to double threshold for launching prosecution to 2 crore rupees, announces no tax increase on any item. Home Minister Amit Shah chairs 25th Eastern Zonal Council in Kolkata. Discussions focus on illegal infiltration, cross-border smuggling and extremism. Stress on intensifying campaign against drugs. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh commends valor of the army in Galwan Tawang sector, says world is waiting for India's defence products. Team India needs 4 wickets to win Chattogram Test against Bangladesh. In the T20 World Cup for the blind, Indian team win their 3rd title in a row. And Croatia and Morocco play for 3rd place in FIFA World Cup. The clash between defending team France and Argentina on Sunday. Let's now track the flash news today. Prime Minister Modi to join Golden Jubilee celebration of North-Eastern Council at Shillong and inaugurate significant projects on Sunday. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju visits Yansi area in Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh, says area fully secured with adequate deployment of brave Indian Army jawans. At COP15 meet, Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav asked people to be mindful, not mindless, on resource consumption. Upcoming Union Budget will set a template for India for the next 25 years, asserts Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Union Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia inaugurates new facilities at the state-of-the-art National Animal Resource Facility for biomedical research in Hyderabad. Prime Minister Modi extends best wishes for 2nd Sushasana Saptaha that starts from 19th December. India confident of forming biofuel alliance with other countries, says Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. US congressional inquiry into last year's Capitol riot likely to recommend 3 criminal charges against former President Donald Trump. Authorities in Peru hold high-level talks to resolve political crisis triggered by arrest of former president. Oscar-winning US actress Angelina Jolie steps down as ambassador for UN Refugee Agency UNHCR after over 20 years. Now news in detail. The GST Council has agreed to decriminalize certain offences and double the threshold for launching prosecution to 2 crore rupees. No tax increase on any item was announced at today's meeting. The tax rate of ethyl alcohol or biofuel, which is applied to refineries for blending with petrol, has been reduced from 18% to 5%. This will further reduce dependence on imported crude oil. The GST Council also decided to reduce the tax rate on husk of pulses, including chilka, from 5% to nil. The Council also clarified on the definition of SUVs for levy of 22% compensation cess and decided to come out with parameters to define MUVs. The GST Council decided on 8 out of the 15 agenda items due to paucity of time, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said. The items that could not be considered include setting up of appellate tribunals for GST and mechanism to curb tax evasion in pan masala and gutka businesses.
We completed 8 of the agenda points, and therefore the rest would be carried on to the next, hopefully an in-person meeting. Importantly, of the 7 agenda that we could not take up today, the GOMs are also part of those 7 which we couldn't take up. There were 2 GOM issues which had to be discussed. One relating to the capacity-based taxation on tobacco and gutkha, and the other relating to the setting up of a tribunal, GST tribunal. So both these have not been taken up. So leaving aside that, in sequential order about 7 agenda points were attended to, and one which related to data sharing was also taken up.
The major decisions which the Council today took, I think one major path-breaking recommendation is with regard to decriminalizing certain offences. 3 kinds of offences have been recommended to be decriminalized. They pertain to obstruction or preventing any officer in discharge of his duties, deliberate tampering of material evidence, failure to supply the information. Moreover, the threshold limit of tax amount for launching prosecution in any criminal offence defined under the GST laws, the limit has been increased from 1 crore to 2 crore for all offences other than those involving fake invoices.
Home Minister Amit Shah chaired the 25th meeting of the Eastern Zonal Council in Kolkata today. He said that the eastern states have a major share in the vision of Prime Minister's Gati Shakti plan for development of the region. He said that the meeting was held in a good and positive atmosphere. The Home Minister urged the Chief Ministers to showcase the cultural diversity and tourist places of their states to the world during the upcoming G20 related events. He also urged the states to make efforts to sustain the decisive dominance over the left-wing extremism. He also asked the Chief Ministers to create district-level structure of the NCORD mechanism and its regular meetings for the prevention of narcotics. He said that the fight against drugs in the country is now at a crucial stage and could be further accelerated with the help of artificial intelligence. In the last 8 years, more than 1,000 issues were discussed in the meetings of the zonal councils and 93% of them were resolved. The bravery and valor displayed by the armed forces during the Galwan Valley clashes and recent face-off in Tawang is commendable, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said today. He added that any amount of praise for them is not enough. He said this while addressing the 95th FICCI Annual Convention in Delhi. He also said that the whole world is waiting for the defence products of India. He called upon industries to come forward and invest in research and development in defence sector. The Defence Minister emphasized that the Indian defence industry has immense potential and government wants to bring it to the tune of $22 billion by 2025.
हमने अपनी डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्री के लिए डोमेस्टिक मार्केट को अनफेयर फॉरेन कंपटीशन से प्रोटेक्ट करने का भी प्रयास किया है। साथ ही साथ हम अपने डोमेस्टिक बिजनेस को बाहर देशों से भी मार्केट एक्सेस दिलाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं ताकि वे बाहर भी मार्केट कैप्चर कर सकें। और हमने मार्केट इंटीग्रेशन पर भी ध्यान दिया है जिसका लाभ देश के हर कोने में रहने वाले लोगों को स्वाभाविक रूप से मिल रहा है। और हमने दुनिया की एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी प्राप्त करने के लिए कई भी प्रयास किए हैं। इसमें फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट के नॉर्म्स को भी सिंप्लीफाई किया है जिसकी जानकारी आपको है। यह पहले जहां पर 49% हुआ करता था और फिर अब उसको बढ़ाकर ऑटोमेटिक रूट से 74% कर दिया है और गवर्नमेंट रूट के द्वारा 100% कर दिया है। एफडीआई है। इससे इंडिया में एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन बढ़ने का रास्ता खुल रहा है और डिफेंस से जुड़ी कैपिटल या क्रिटिकल टेक्नोलॉजी प्राप्त करने का रास्ता भी पहले से आसान हो रहा है।
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla participated in a border security force program at the Bundi Sports Complex in his parliamentary constituency of Kota. Bundi residents also witnessed a stunning display of a wide variety of skills by the BSF Jawans. The event was organized at the initiative of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. The audience witnessed the spell-binding stunts by the BSF's Seema Bhavani motorcycle team. The dog squad accompanying the Jawans also proved to be another huge attraction. BSF Jawans also carried out thrills with their weapons. Carrying out the Gajraj and Cheetah drill, the BSF Jawans dismantled vehicles like mini truck and gypsy and quickly reassembled them. The BSF band also enthralled the audience with their music. Addressing the event, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla applauded the bravery, valor and dedication of the BSF.
जब से बीएसएफ बना है, उसने हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान की सीमा पर चाहे हिमालय की चोटियां हो, तपता रेगिस्तान हो, जंगल हो, वहां पर जिस तरीके से उस सीमा पर सुरक्षा करने का काम किया, उन सब जांबाज सैनिकों के कारण आज पूरा देश सुरक्षित है। आज हिंदुस्तान की जितनी सीमा है, उन सीमाओं पर हमारी रक्षा करने का काम ये जांबाज सैनिक करते हैं। इनकी शौर्य, इनकी वीरता, इनका साहस आज पूरा देश नमन करता है।
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla also laid the foundation stone of world-level synthetic athletic track, swimming pool, multi-purpose hall and other sports facilities at the Bundi Sports Complex. Addressing the ceremony, Lok Sabha Speaker said that our players have passion and confidence. He hoped that these facilities would prove useful for them to achieve success in future. Speaker Birla said that he is committed for all-round development of Bundi. He added that he is working on an action plan including all areas such as education, health, tourism, industry, trade, agriculture, animal husbandry and transport. He said that this will accelerate the development of Bundi in the coming future.
मेरे बूंदी के नौजवान खिलाड़ी जिनके चेहरे पे मैं चमक देख रहा हूं, मुस्कान देख रहा हूं, दूर दराज के गांव में रहने वाले वो नौजवान खिलाड़ी जो देश के अंदर अलग अलग खेलों के अंदर अपनी प्रतिभाओं को, चाहे एशियन गेम हो या ओलंपिक हो, विश्व स्तरीय कोई भी गेम हो, उस गेम के अंदर जब बूंदी और बूंदी के अंदर रहने वाले गांव का वो खिलाड़ी जिस दिन गोल्ड मेडल लेकर आएगा और बूंदी का नाम पूरे विश्व के अंदर करेगा, वो सपना मैं देख रहा हूं।
Time now for other news from across the nation. The central government has said that it has enough food grains to meet the requirement of the Food Security Act and other welfare schemes. According to the government, about 159 lakh tons of wheat and 104 lakh tons of rice will be available till January 1st, 2023, which is more than the buffer standards. The Supreme Court has dismissed a review petition filed by Bilkis Yaqub Rasool, the survivor of 2002 Gujarat riots, who had challenged a May order of the Apex Court allowing the state government to consider the remission plea of the 11 convicts who gang-raped her as per a 1992 policy which did not bar early release in rape and murder cases. India has stressed that as the world moves towards the global biodiversity framework, area-based targets that take a one-size-fits-all approach are not acceptable. This point was underscored by Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, while presenting India's national statement to delegates at the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties COP15 to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity in the Canadian city of Montreal. The BJP today held a nationwide protest against the objectionable remarks made by Pakistan Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The party said that the remarks of the Foreign Minister of Pakistan are highly reprehensible, derogatory and cowardly. Time now for a short break. Stay tuned for more news on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching the news. A look at latest development from the conflict zone of Russia-Ukraine. In today's news from the war zone, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia still has enough missiles for several more massive strikes like the one it launched on Friday against Ukraine's critical infrastructure. He said that Russia was targeting civilians with its attacks on power and heating supply facilities, adding that Russia's actions were those of terrorists. Russia fired more than 70 missiles at Ukraine on Friday in one of its biggest attacks since the start of the war. Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said that 60 out of Russian 76 missiles were shot down Friday by Ukrainian air forces. After the Kremlin warned Washington of targeting its Patriot systems and any U.S. personnel training Ukrainian troops on using them, the United States has hit back. U.S. State Department Principal Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel said the only proactive measures that have been taken over the course of its entire conflict are being made by Russia. He said Russia has struck more than 200 targets relating to Ukraine's energy infrastructure, threatening to freeze, starve and force Ukrainian civilians from their homes in the midst of winter. Private businesses in Ukraine are in line to receive $2 billion in financing arranged by the International Finance Corporation. The financing aims to help rebuild the country's agriculture and fuel import industries and other ventures facing extensive losses because of the war. The IFC is a member of the World Bank Group that provides private sector financing to developing countries. The loans differ from the grants received by donor nations as they must be paid back. The National Bank of Ukraine estimates that 11% of businesses has closed as of September and more than half are operating below capacity. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday met with his top military brass and was briefing on the progress of conflict in Ukraine. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Russian Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov attended the meeting. Reports say Putin asked his military commanders for their suggestions on near-future moves in Ukraine. Nearly 600 miners who were stuck underground following Russian missile strikes in the central Ukrainian city of Kryvyi Rih have been rescued. Mayor of the city confirmed that there was no one left in the mines and everyone was alive and well. The mayor also said 16 people were wounded, including 4 children, in the Russian missile strike on Friday. 3 people also died as a result of the strike. Now news from across the globe. Japan has approved a new national security strategy that will allow it to acquire counter-strike capability and considerably bolster its military power and spending over the next 5 years. The policy shift puts an end to Japan's 1956 government pledge to avoid counter-strike capability and only recognize the idea as constitutional last-ditch defense. Here are more details.
Japan on Friday made a major break from its strictly self-defense only post-war principle. It has adopted a national security strategy that will include acquiring preemptive strike capability and cruise missiles. Explaining its rationale, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida told a news conference that when threats become reality, can the self-defense force fully protect the country? Japan named China as the biggest strategic challenge, ahead of even North Korea and Russia, to its effort towards ensuring the peace, safety and stability for itself and the international society. Japan's wartime past as an aggressor and the national devastation that followed its defeat in the Second World War made it prioritize economic growth while keeping its security light. Post-war, Japan has relied on American troops stationed in the country under their bilateral security agreement. Its defense build-up has long been a sensitive issue at home and in the region, especially for Asian victims of Japanese wartime atrocities. Kishida has, however, assured that Japan's path as a peace-loving nation will remain unchanged. Japan's current plan won't be implemented until at least 2026. It includes acquiring the powerful long-range Tomahawk missile favored by the US and the UK navies. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Tunisian President Kais Saied voted in the nation's capital, Tunis, on Saturday. The parliamentary election is expected to tighten Saied's grip on power. However, the election is being boycotted by opposition political parties that have accused Saied of mounting a coup that shaped Tunisia through the past decade. The elections are taking place 12 years after a vegetable seller, Mohamed Bouazi, set himself on fire in an act of protest that sparked the Arab Spring. Voters will be choosing a parliament whose powers have been scaled down by a new constitution approved with a low turnout in a July referendum that was called by Saied to shift Tunisia back towards a presidential system. A look at news in today's World Wrap. China administered nasal spray COVID-19 vaccines on Saturday to Beijing residents as booster dose after infection spiked in the capital city. Increasing the uptake of vaccination is vital for China to prevent large-scale outbreaks and fatalities, especially among the elderly. China has told people to nurse mild symptoms at home unless symptoms become very severe. Rescuers on Saturday found the bodies of a mother and her son, raising the death toll from a landslide on an unlicensed campground in Malaysia to 23, with 10 others still missing. Selangor State Fire Chief told reporters the 2 bodies were found buried under 3 feet of mud and debris. The IMF has approved a deal that will provide a $3 billion support package to cash-strapped Egypt over almost 4 years. The agreement is expected to draw in additional $14 billion in financing for the Middle East country. The IMF announcement comes after a preliminary agreement in October, hours after Egypt's central bank introduced a series of reforms, including a hike in key interest rate by roughly 2 percentage points. The U.S. House Committee investigating the Capitol riot will hold its final meeting on Monday, wrapping up its year-and-a-half-long inquiry by asking the Justice Department to investigate potential crimes. The committee of 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans has interviewed more than 1,000 witnesses. Its final report could include hundreds of pages of findings about the attack. The global cholera vaccine stockpile of the world, which World Health Organization participates in management, is running out, the WHO said on Friday. According to WHO, about 30 countries and regions have reported cholera outbreaks this year, including Haiti, Yemen and Lebanon. Typically, about 36 million doses of cholera vaccine are distributed annually, in the management of which the WHO is involved. Time for all the sporty action of the day. India need 4 more wickets on the final day to win the Chattogram Test against Bangladesh. Bangladesh would start day 5 needing 241 more runs to chase down a target of 513. Opener Zakir Hasan provided some cheer for the Bangladesh team, scoring a century on debut. Zakir scored an exact 100 with the help of 13 boundaries and a 6. South Africa were bowled out for 152 in Brisbane on the first day of the first test of the 3-match series against Australia. Australia were 145 for 5, trailing by 7 runs at the end of the day 1. Pakistan were all out for 304 in the first innings of the 3rd test against England. The visitors end day 1 of the Karachi test at 7 for 1. Skipper Savita Punia produced an excellent performance under the bar as India defeated Ireland 2-1 in the shootout to set up a final clash against Spain in the FIH Hockey Women's Nations Cup. The final is being played as we speak. 2018 runner-up Croatia could not make it to the finals this time and are taking on surprise semi-finalist Morocco in the 3rd place playoff at the FIFA World Cup 2022. Indian men blind cricket team beat Bangladesh by a massive 120 runs to win the third T20 World Cup in Bengaluru today. Vice President Dhankar and Prime Minister Modi congratulated the team on the success. New Air Warriors were inducted into the Indian Air Force at an impressive passing out parade held at the IF Academy in Dundigal, Hyderabad. Before we wrap the bulletin, let us leave you with a few visuals of fighter jets performing awe-inspiring stunts at the air show. Keep watching Sansad TV for more news and updates. Thank you. Good night, viewers.